All right, so we've talked about how we use the calculator basically to give us our roots, our x-intercepts, our solutions, our zeros. But in all of those questions, the answers have been rational. What do I mean by rational? I mean that you can write those as a fraction of integers. You can write them as a repeating decimal, or it's a decimal that terminates. Okay, so a fraction of integers, terminates, etc. So what happens if this is not such a pretty number? Like, for example, let's just make this, let's see if this makes it unpretty. All right, that's still fine. Let's try this. Boom, like that. Okay, so there is no pattern. It's not repeating, it's not terminating. And again, Desmos just stops writing it after a while. What do I do in those situations? Well, we use what is called the quadratic formula. Again, this can also be found in your formula sheet. Under the different forms, you have the quadratic formula, and you'll see that it says x equals because it's looking for your x-intercepts, your solutions, your roots, or your zeros. This is the formula for it. So to start us off, and I've written the formula here. You're using this when it's irrational, okay? But you can use it when it's rational too, but why would you? Why would you do this extra work when you can just type it in? All right, use it if it's irrational and you can't make the decimals into fractions. All right, so you're going to copy the question into Desmos. So we're going to go ahead and start off with example number 1. I'm going to copy that into Desmos. And of course, instead of using D, I'm going to use X so that it does appear. Some letters do appear, but you know, I don't even try. All right. All right, so I'm going to copy and double check that I copied it correctly. I'm going to click this. Oh my gosh, guys, there's no pattern, there's no terminating, and you can't write it as a fraction of integers because when I try to do that, look how weird it looks. All right, that's definitely not the answer. And what do I repeat? I can't repeat anything, right? So I cannot use what I've been using before by just clicking and following those steps. So I have to use the quadratic formula, which is right here. So on your copy your questions into Desmos, which you have. On the next line, press divide. So on the next line, I'm going to press divide or slash, and then write the formula down in parentheses where the letters are in the calculator. All right, so we're going to, here is the formula, and it's the same thing as on the formula sheet. I just need it next to me so I can do it. And it's saying we're going to write this whole thing, but where there's letters, you're going to put parentheses. So minus, and then I see B, so that's parentheses. Now I can't put a plus or minus, okay? So let's see what it says. Use plus as the calculator won't allow you to put plus and minus. Okay, so first I'll use plus, and of course I'll use minus after the fact. So plus square root. So we're going to go ahead and type in square root. All right, then B is a letter. So again, parentheses, squared or shift 6. Minus 4 is a number. Then A is a parentheses. Then C is a parentheses. And again, please make sure that whole thing is under the square root, as you can see there, under the square root, under the square root. All over 2, which is a number, and then A is a letter. All right, so I've gone ahead and done step 3. And then it says on your paper, put boxes around what's in the parentheses. So over here, we're going to put boxes around A, the number right before x squared, B, the number before x, and C, the one by itself. So here's my paper. All right, so it's going to be boxes basically around the variable. So this is going to be A. Another box around this variable, including the sign, the symbol, that's going to be B. And then another box right here, and that's going to be C. And again, that's just following the formula that says A is right before x squared, B is right before x, and C is the number by itself. All right, so now that I've done that on my paper, what's next? It then says fill in A, B, and C in the formula where parentheses are in decimals. All right, so let's go ahead and fill that out. What do I put here? I don't know. Let's go look what the formula says. What should I put there? B, the letter B. So it should go B, B, A, C. So let's do that. All right, so B, which is negative 19. So I'm just typing it in just like I see. B again, negative 19. And then it said A and then C. A, which is 4, and then C, which is 20. Okay. And then on the very bottom, I have an A. So on the very bottom, A is 4. So we're going to go ahead and type it in. All right, so we're going ahead and type that in. It says, does the answer match the decimal given? Okay, so let's go see. All right, does it match? Yes, 3.17539. And again, they're not going to write it forever. So yes, it does match. So where am I? If not, stop, you made a mistake. Okay, so I haven't made a mistake, so I can keep going. On a new line, copy and paste everything under the radical and replace everything under the radical with the number you just got. All right, so what's underneath the radical? This part right here. Copy and paste it. So Control C and then Control V. And I'm going to replace everything underneath that radical with the number 41. Okay, so I've done that. Does it still match the decimal in the graph? If not, stop, you've made a mistake. Okay, so again, it's, yep, I remember it's 3.17539. So I still match, so I'm still good. I've done that part correctly. All right, then it says simplify the radical if needed. Does it stop? Does it match? If not, stop. Okay, so let's simplify 41. How do I do that? By breaking it down. Checking 2, that doesn't work. 3, that doesn't work. I'm going to skip 4 because that's not prime. 5, that doesn't work. 7, that doesn't work. 9, 11, that doesn't work. 13, that doesn't work. 14, 15, 16, 17, that doesn't work. 19, that doesn't work. 21, okay. This is not breaking down, so obviously this radical does not simplify, but if it did, I would need to go ahead and simplify that radical and check it. So now that I know it doesn't simplify, it doesn't need it. Simplify the top left. All right, so let's do that. What's this top left? What's a negative times a negative? A positive, right? So a negative times a negative 1 times negative 19 will give me a positive 19. So we're going to simplify this to positive 19. Am I still good? Yes. All right. And simplify the denominator. So 2 times 4, which is going to give me 8. Yes, 8. So I'm going to replace this with 8. Am I still good? Yes, I'm still matching that 3.1759. All right. So again, it says, does it still match? If not, stop. So it does match. So I'm okay. Does the fraction simplify? Okay. So this one is special. It means every term on the top and the bottom. Okay, so that means there's an invisible 1 here. And again, if I put the invisible 1, you see it didn't change. Is there a number that goes into all 3 terms? That means 19, positive 1, and 8. No, nothing is divisible into all 3 of those. So that fraction does not simplify. If it did, and there was a number that went into all 3, then I would divide all 3 by that number. But right now it doesn't. So I'm still good. So where does it say? Okay, so does it still match? Yes. Okay, on a new line. Okay, so on a new line, copy and paste what you have from step 9, which is this. Copy and paste that. Okay, and change the plus to a minus outside the radical. So I'm going to change this from a plus to a minus, and I'm going to take the invisible 1 out again. All right, and then these are my 2 answers. Does it match? Does it match both x-intercepts? All right, so let's look. So boom, boom. Do I get 1.576? Yup, because they rounded that 9, that made that 1. So perfect. This matches. So these are my 2 answers. So my solutions, and you might see them written separately, like this, or you could see them written together with a plus and minus. So my solutions are x is equal to 19 plus or minus the square root of 41 over 8. Or you might see them separated by a comma, okay? But that's how you would do it. All right, so go ahead and give this one a shot, okay? Again, you're just walking through these steps. Keep checking to make sure that it still matches, and I'm here to help you as soon as it doesn't match, okay? All right, now, every time you have a multiple choice, always type the question into your first line and your answer choice into the next line with an A outside. Okay, so now I'm going to show you what do you do if it's multiple choice. So first I'm going to type in the question, which is x squared plus 4x equals 6. All right, and then I'm going to type in the answer choices. X is equal to 2 plus radical 10. Okay, and I'm going to check the first one. If it doesn't work for the first one, then it doesn't matter. I don't need to check the second, because it's saying see if it matches your answer and repeat with the minus outside. Okay, so I'm going to see if this matches. If this matches, then I'm going to repeat with that minus. So let's check that. So I need 5.167, so that one's 1.1, and this is negative. So if it doesn't even match the first one, it doesn't matter. It's not the answer because it has to match both. So that's not the answer. All right, let's try negative 2 plus radical 10. So negative 2 plus radical 10. All right, so again, I'm going to click on it. Yes, that matches this one, 1.16228, because they've rounded that 7. All right, but it now needs to match the second one, which is 2 minus the square root of 10. So I'm going to leave that one up there, and I'm going to go here. It's going to be positive 2 minus radical 10. Okay, does that match the other one? No, because it needs to be negative 5.1. So this is also not the answer. So it has to match both in order to be the answer. Now we're going to go to the next one. Well, I already know this one is an answer, negative 2 plus radical 10. So I know this one cannot be an answer. I'm not even going to waste my time putting that in. So it must be D because we have negative 2 plus radical 10. And this next one needs to be negative 2 minus radical 10. So if I put a negative 2 minus radical 10, is that what my solution is? And I'm just going to check both of them. Yes, that matches, so that answer is D. So again, if they give you multiple choice, you're putting in the question, you're putting the answer choices, clicking on the x-intercepts to make sure that it matches. Let's practice.